and hard to swallow. Fame puts you there when things are hollow. Fame.
David Bowie was an icon whose music and style pushed boundaries for decades. Now his legendary artistry is being celebrated live on stage right here in Kingston. Joining me today is Michael Bell, the acclaimed Canadian performer who is bringing the magic of the Thin White Duke to the Spire with his incredible show, The Bowie Lives. Michael, welcome to your local show.
Yeah, thanks, Scott. Thanks for having me on.
Your show is heading to the Spire in Kingston on Saturday, November 29th. For those planning to come, what exactly is the audience getting? Is it a concert, a stage production? How do you sort of define the experience?
Really it's a big celebration. Of course, it's a concert. We play all the hits and all the material. It's a 2-hour night. We get local folks involved in the show. We highlight people in the audience who have dressed up as Bowie or worn their Bowie swag. I mean, we're really trying to facilitate a celebration to Bowie's costuming, his fashion, his music, his attitude. It's a bit of all things. There's multimedia, there's acting, there's costumes. It's full on.
Embodying an icon like Bowie is obviously a monumental task. What's the most challenging part of bringing such a complex visual artist to life after every night for you?
Well, being able to sing the material night after night, it's awfully challenging. So I just came off a 3-night run, and my voice may be a little hoarse because of that, but it's always inspiring. Every time we stage this thing and get on stage, the band's a full-on all-star band, and everybody's vested in the material, and yeah, it's kind of not hard to do. It's just so much fun, and the material's so great.
What drew you to Bowie's music? What turned the switch on for you probably many years ago?
Absolutely. I bought my first album at 14 years old. That was right on just came out, Young Americans. And, at the time they were playing Fame on the radio, and I thought that was super cool. And I was already in bands and playing, progressive prog rock and different things, as a young kid. So when I discovered Bowie, here was a guy that was, as soon as I fell in love with Young Americans, I went and bought all the back catalog and got to know all the other material. And what I really appreciated about him as an artist musically was the fact that he was playing so many different genres of music, and I'm a big fan of all kinds of music, so that really intrigued me. And then of course there was the fashion. I just thought it was outrageous. So I adopted that through high school and was sent home a few times over the years, to change my clothes. But it was something that I grew up with, and then later in life, as I got to know him as a business person, and I just appreciated all aspects of his personality and his performance, and so yeah, it was a good fit for me.
His career is obviously a vast timeline of musical shifts. How do you approach creating a set list for this show that honors so many eras?
Yeah, well, we do it all, but basically it's we do it in order. So it's like a histography or discography of his material. We start with Space Oddity. Obviously, there's earlier material than that, but that was his first big hit. That's where we start. And then we go through all the hits in order. And so everything that everybody expects to hear is there. There's a couple of tunes that people may not recognize later in his catalog, but we had to put those in as well. So it's a full night. It's 2 hours of Bowie, Bowie's hits, and pretty easy to put the song list together because you just go, okay, what were the hits? And there's just too many of them, quite frankly. Like, we're always blocking in some and taking out some and trying to change it up a bit, especially when we come into a market for the second or third time. Right. We'd like to be able to present some new tunes, but this is the first time for us in Kingston, so we're pretty excited about that.
Cool. Why do you think David Bowie's music and message continue to resonate powerfully today, especially with the younger generation? My daughter came to me about 10 years ago and said, listen to this song, and it was Modern Love, and I said, oh yeah. So I think I became instantly more cool with her when I said, "Oh yeah, I know exactly who that
I know
is."
that, dude.
Why do you think his message is still resonating to a younger generation?
Well, I think, unfortunately, his passing had a huge part of that. Black Star becoming such a huge album sale, and then I think as young folks discovered him, maybe through Black Star, that they discovered all the other aspects, and then realized that a lot of artists out there today owe their success to the inspiration of David Bowie. Like somebody like Lady Gaga is a perfect example where she'll admit, if it wasn't for Bowie, she may not have been the same character that she was. So I think once more contemporary artists keep talking about him and saying what an influence is on them he was, then they in turn inspire the younger folks to go out and listen to Bowie. And then once they're there, they go, okay, wow, this is just over the top. This is amazing. And Bowie was so amazing at pulling great players to him, so that all the music is different and mind-blowing and trend-setting and all of that. So I think the younger generation can really appreciate that.
Getting back to the show and the logistics of the show, I know we know you encourage fans to get involved with the Bowie Bazaar and to dress as their favorite character, for lack of a better word. What's the energy like when you see a whole venue full of people celebrating that way?
It's great. I mean, all bands have their fan base. Bowie fans are rabid. They, excuse me, in the beginning of this, we had a lot of folks come to us and say, this is a bad idea, like hardcore Bowie fans that just thought nobody could honor him, and we hate the idea of there being an impersonator. And of course, my retort is that I'm not an impersonator. I sound like him because I cut my teeth singing the guy, and I can turn it on and turn it off at will. We parade the costumes, we do all the stuff, but in the end, as I say, I really feel like I'm the circus master, the circus, the ringleader of this, is where I just try to facilitate everybody else's celebration of the guy. And yeah, it's fantastic to see people out there singing the words, or getting up in the aisle and dancing, or showing up with a lightning bolt on their face. I mean, for me, it's really all about keeping Bowie alive, and the fact that I love to sing the material, and we got a great band and all that, super fun. But I want to be part of the effort to make sure that people don't forget who this guy was, and especially the young people, to help them discover more material and keep the Bowie alive.
That's right. Let's talk about the logistics on the show. It's November the 29th at the SPIRE here in Kingston. Sort of like a call to action. What can people expect? Why should they get a ticket to your performance, and little details on what they need to know to be prepared to show up?
Yeah, well, we always suggest people dress up as a Bowie, as your favorite David, as we say, or, at least wear some swag. The Bowie Bazaar is a big collectible offering that we have in the lobby. We have our own merch of T-shirt and that sort of thing, but the vast majority of the stuff that's on the tables are real Bowie collectibles, right down to, like, we have the Mattel dolls and clothes and shoes and licensed T-shirts and records and CDs and VHS and books and magazines. I've been collecting for years, and I occasionally buy a private collection, and if somebody's got one up for sale, and so come early so you can, if you're interested in that kind of stuff, you can take a look through all the wares. We take cash and Visa, and then the rest of it's like get in the hall, get your seat, and be prepared to be knocked out. And especially if you're a Bowie fan, I think you'll be pleasantly maybe surprised at how well we celebrate the guy and not, you know, we're not opportunistic in this, you know, at all. This was really something out of the love. It took me a long time when he first passed. I had a lot of people ask me if I wanted to do this, and I said no, because I didn't feel like it was appropriate. And then as time passed, you know, my musical director, Michael Beauclair, put a killer band together for the first rehearsal, and it sounded amazing right out of the gate. We went out basically and started playing after one rehearsal, and you know, it's just been great. We've been well received everywhere we go, so it inspires us to keep going.
That sounds like an unforgettable night of music, a theatrical experience. I thank you very much for joining us. You can see the Bowie Lives at the SPIRE in Kingston on Saturday, November 29th. Doors open at 7 p.m. Get your tickets now and arrive early for the Bowie Bazaar. Thank you, Michael, for joining us.
Thanks, Scott.